Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 11 of the anime series, Masamune-kun's Revenge. They were really amping up the stupid in this episode. Yeah, you don't like your favorite girl in your little Yuri clique, your master, this girl you follow around. You don't like the guy that's making moves on her. So what are you going to do? What do you resort to? Kidnapping! Why didn't I think of that? Let's break the law. Let's endanger people. You know, somebody who's sick. Makabe is ill, by the way, and the, weapon-wielding chick in this three-female clique of, Aragakiyakis, she's operating under the orders of the Mari chick with the glasses to kidnap him and hold him, hostage for all intents and purposes. Oh, gee, what brilliance. It's like, what the hell? What are you thinking, you dumb idiots, But I gotta admit, Koi answered pretty swiftly to that as well. She had the same thing in mind. I don't know if she actually, overheard what was going on and pieced together that they were going to be doing that with Makabe, and this is what instilled it in her, or inspired her to do the same thing with Gaso, or if she just figured, F it, I'm gonna kidnap him, without having any, knowledge that they've done that to Makabe already. I don't really know, but she basically pulled the same stunt. She led Gaso to where Aragakiyaki hides out to have her lunch every day and everything, eating all of that, grand food that she does. And she locked him in the shed, taking all of his, costuming and everything in the bag. He had to change. He ends up walking in on all the girls changing. They throw things at him. I thought it was interesting. There's a little bit of a confrontation, once again, between Gaso and Makabe, where Makabe, this guy is pretty smug, and we find out that, because his family is not that wealthy, Gaso kind of knows what he's doing. He knows who Makabe is, that he is the genuine article Masamune, that is who, Gaso is pretending to be for the sake of Aragakiyaki. And the whole purpose of that is his family's not wealthy, and they want him to marry into wealth and help them, expand their wealth, become wealthy again, or, for the first time ever. I don't know. It's not quite explained what, the lifestyle and monetary status, the wealth status of his family was, going all the way back to childhood, but he knows what he's doing. And so there is this inherent smugness whenever he's confronting Makabe. And Makabe actually says a line, he throws a line out there, thinking internally about it. Is Gaso even a guy? He's much more the very sensitive male type. He is probably empathetic. He's probably been bullied, but he's kind of getting off on the idea of messing with Makabe. And there's that aspect of his calling back to the wall slam, that dramatic wall slam Makabe tries to pull on Aki and did not work one iota. And this cat's actually schooling Makabe, that's not going to work with women. In fact, it had the opposite effect. And, by the way, I love giving her little chocolates and treats and doing these little things. It's all the little things that really amount to bring someone forth to understand that you care about them and they'll care about you and all this kind of stuff. It'll be reciprocated much more thoroughly, and you'll fare much better in their presence. And Makabe's just like, yeah, whatever, he hides out behind a corner wall of the school, and he's writing it down in his notebook. Okay, wall slam bad, chocolate's good, snacks good. Okay. But so both of these cats are, for all intents and purposes, kidnapped and held hostage. Nobody's really guarding Gaso. They just, Koi just locked him in the shed. Whereas, of course, the weapon-wielding one of the Yuri clique that is after, or supporting, I guess you could say, Aki, she is guarding, Makabe, even though he's wrapped up in, I don't know what the hell it was, a blanket, or perhaps a mattress, and roped into it. He could not get out of it. He's already ailing. He's already kind of got a cold from trying to boast and show off about how manly and muscled he is in front of his sister and his little lolly mommy and everything like that. So he's not putting up that much of a fight. But then, of course, the tide turns because he tells this chick, you want to have a face-to-face confrontation. You don't want to just, immediately disqualify me from any sort of competition and then win by default. That's not really there's nothing competitive about that. There's nothing honorable about that. She calls back to the fact that, she had been sparring against this guy in this dojo and everything back in the past, and he would always take to cheating and try to best her, and that's how he always would best her. But, basically she one day sees this guy trying to hit on Aki, and she slams him down like she does every other guy ever, and says, oh, what a coward you are. You're not even going to introduce yourself, try to get to know me before asking me out, just coming straight out and asking me out. So this guy flounces right, face plants right on the ground. And this chick is enamored with Aki at that point. And this is really the turning point that attracted her to Aki. It's the same thing with all these chicks. I mean, we already kind of know this, they're all girls together, down with, the human male and everything. all of their very feminist sort of agenda, but it's hard to tell. Is it feminism? Is it supporting that idea, which I'm all for, to non-crazy degrees, or is it that they're all kind of gay for Aki? I don't know. It's not quite clear. When Aki is afraid that the bust size of her costume as Snow White in the play that they're going to be putting on, both classes again putting on a version of Snow White, she has to pad it out. And you got the Mari chick, the leader of this clique, if you will, the one who instigated and completely brought about the kidnapping and holding hostage of Makabe. She's all touchy-feely, grabbing onto Aki and like helping her stuff her chest and everything. So it's like, what? I don't know what's going on with these chicks. And then poor Kojiro, man. Kojiro has been sidled up as the Snow White from Makabe's class. Futaba, the class rep, she's just losing her mind, putting all kinds of pressure on him. And it's really interesting to see just how enamored with, Neko Kojiro is. He's smitten. Head over heels for her. And that would be awesome. It would kind of be awesome if, like, Makabe and Aki are going to end up a thing anyway. It would be really cool to see, Kojiro and Neko hooking up by some means, because of course she's really thinking about Makabe and exclusively just Makabe, and it was her who brought Makabe to like the nurse's room and everything to lay down and rest, because she could tell he was sick because she spent so many years being sick. And so they're all running rampant trying to figure out where the hell Makabe's gone. The other class is looking for Gasso, and Aki is absolutely adamant that she's going to put on this play, this portrayal of Snow White, with or without a prince. And this answers the question I was left with. How are they going to do this? How are they going to call back to the scene in the OP, the end of the OP, where it is Makabe and Aki on stage? And when, Makabe is finally freed and he realizes, incidentally, the way he's freed, he's about to jump out a window, like a third or fourth story window out of this school, when this chick with the weapon is like trying to smack him and lunge at him. And she ends up flying out the window into like this brook outside the building. If you've ever seen the film Penn and Teller Get Killed, there is a scene almost exactly the same. A chick does a little pirouette, does a dance, and then right out the window she goes. Under wholly different circumstances, but I digress. So with him free and clear, and knowing Gasso is being held hostage, probably, he's not sure, but probably having been carried out by Koiwai, as we, the viewer, know that is exactly the case, he's like, we're in the clear. They're never going to be able to put on their play. They will lose by default. I'll get to dance with Aki at the end of the festival dance. And then, of course, Kojiro's like, but wait, they've already started their play. Gasso's nowhere to be found, but they're already putting it on. And, of course, Makabe loses his ever-loving crap, takes off running. So this answers how the hell he's going to be there on stage with her. He's probably going to fill in for the absent prince that is Gasso. And this is how we're going to wrap everything up in a nice little pretty bow. Which, just watch. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some sort of havoc that ensues, so that not everything in the finale, I'm assuming the next episode is the finale. I'm not sure how many episodes exactly this will round out to be. Probably 12. But if it is, in fact, in the final episode, At this point, I don't want there to be any loose ties. I want everything wrapped up. I want to feel a sense of closure and finality. I want them to hook up or not, or maybe they're warming to each other, something like that. I don't know. Maybe Aki will become aware after being kissed by Makabe, kissed awake as the character of Snow White. Maybe she'll realize or he'll admit to her that this was him all along. He's the original Masamune. Gasso is not. I don't know. I just want there to be closure. I don't want to have to sit through another season of this. I've enjoyed this show. And the last couple episodes, this one and the previous, have just kind of gone off the deep end of rationality to a point. One could argue that's been the case all season long, all series long. But it's just I don't see how they can stretch this out anymore. I'm not going to... The humor of the scenario and the madness of the scenario of Makabe trying to get revenge on Aki when they're destined to be together somehow, some way, don't stretch it out any longer. One thing I will say I appreciated about this particular episode was that fact that they were really moving things along very speedily. You had the three girls who somebody told me in the comments, actually, we saw them for the first time in the first episode of the series. I completely forgot that. They haven't been around, so I haven't, I didn't know who the hell they were when they showed up again in the previous episode. And, to me, they didn't matter. It was who the hell are they? Similarly with Gasso. We didn't know who the hell he was. I thought he was the cat from the first episode with the scissors going after Aki. Turned out not to be the case as well. And so it's here we have these four characters. Suddenly the tide of the story turns. Neko's fine. She was sick. She was probably dying. She's fine. She's back. She's normal. All of that absurdity and everything like that, in this episode, at least they went leaps and bounds ahead of the game, steps ahead of the viewer to get every bit of that information, all those overhanging questions. Who is Gasso? How does he know Aki? Why is he doing this? Does he know who Makabe is, that he is the original Masamune, and all this kind of stuff? Answered all of those questions expertly. Similarly with the three girls, we know at least how one of them got turned on to Aki, and it's probably similar situations with them all. We see that it's a very personal vendetta for all of them, a little bit feminist, a little bit Yuri. It's hard to tell. It's hard to clearly define all of that. But we got leaps and bounds toward answering who the hell they are, why they're doing what they're doing, and all that kind of stuff. And again, with Gasso going missing, they really could have made a misstep and not explained who was behind that, who did that. You're suspecting anybody when the old witch or whatever leads him to go to a changing room and then, leads him to the shed, locks him in, everything. It ends up being Koi Wai. They could have passed that over entirely and not answered that. But they actually set about to answer so much of the questions that were brought forth in the previous episode. A lot of things were explained that otherwise, had they not paid attention to that, I would have been really irked as a viewer following this along, just oh, so these characters are here now, and this is just the story now. This is just where we're going now. So yeah, at least there's that for it, even though it's absurd and all these characters are out of their ever-loving minds, and it's just... not sparing my every last nerve, hitting them over the head and with the absurdity that is going on, the mess that is ensuing. I am still enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it that much more that we got those answers and that guidance from the storyteller's point of view, stuff like that. I don't know how that all fares in the source material, presuming there is a manga or something along those lines. Don't plan to really read it ever, and I just want, getting back to my initial point in this sort of sidestep rant that I'm ending this review with, I just want closure. I just want the story to be done. Are Makabe and Aki gonna be a thing? Can Kojiro and Neko hook up? Even the class rep, Futaba, I'd like to see her find somebody. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out, even though she likes Makabe, she's into girls and she'll get with one of the Yuri fan club. I don't know. I would just love to see it be sort of a happy ending. One that is at least reasonable, but that doesn't have to sort of primp up the cliffhanger sort of aesthetic. I don't want a cliffhanger. I want closure. I want it to be done. I don't want to have to think about, there's a whole nother season that they're going to continue this mess. No, I want it ending. I want it done. And I guess we'll see how the hell it's going to play out. Yeah, it's all kinds of absurd, ramping up the stupid kidnapping, holding hostage, all this kind of stuff, putting on 2 plays back to back. But I guess it's going to turn out to be 1 play because Makabe's probably going to be the prince for Aki's portrayal, and everyone's going to love it. And so, I mean, one thing that it does call back to the OP, though, is when you see Gasso and Makabe, you know, Makabe's looking sort of that look of consternation at Gasso, and Gasso's smiling at him. So, I mean, maybe we will find Gasso to be an honorable cat. Maybe, you know, like he'll get out of the shed, or somebody will let him out and he'll end up witnessing what's going on, or he'll find out after the fact that Makabe was on stage filling in for him. Maybe he'll do the honorable thing and he'll back off and he'll realize, you know, I'm being too manipulative. I'm going against my own nature. I'm trying to help my family, but in doing so, I'm trying to exploit Aki and her family and her wealth. And now it'd be better if the original Masamune, who I've been trying to pretend to be, actually was the one that ended up with her. It'd be cool if it all ended like that, instead of like a cluster F, as it could very well do. And so yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of this particular episode of Masamune-kun's Revenge. Are you getting exacerbated with it, kind of like I am, a little confused here and there? Were you glad, as I suggested, that they actually answered a lot of those questions? Gasso's passed with Aki, these girls passed with Aki, everything. They actually were there all along, you know, even though we only saw them in the first episode, and then all of a sudden they show up last episode, as I say. But, you know, anything, any thoughts or comments you have to say about the series, love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. Just love having that conversation. Otherwise, let's see how this all rounds out next week, presumably, and hopefully it will do so in a tolerable manner. Otherwise, it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.